Come on in, pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. Welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host, here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by thegaminggang.com, which I happen to be the Grand Poobah. I am the founder and editor-in-chief of the Gaming Gang. So welcome aboard. Tonight is Monday, January 17th, 2022. This is live stream 740. Zoinks. Do my kind of like Barney Fife. Zoinks. Oh, Andy. I know there's people out there going, Barney who? What? How's he talking about? What is he? He's stoned? Was he on smoking the marijuana? Anyway, welcome aboard. If this is your first time joining me, let me point out, as you can tell, this is very, very casual. Just hanging out, talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news and taking a look at tabletop games. We are currently in the midst of the Old School for the New Year's celebration. So I am taking looks at games that have kind of an old school vibe. They don't necessarily have to be considered old school Renaissance or anything along those lines. Just kind of have that feel to them. So tonight I am going to be taking a first look and paging through Ultraviolet Grasslands and the Black City from Wizard Thief Fighter Studio, otherwise known as WTF Studio. So that's coming up in just a little bit. Once again, if this is your first time popping in to join me, let me point out that we do the tabletop gaming news first, and then we jump into the first look. So if you are hanging out because you want to check out Ultraviolet Grasslands, then it'll probably be about 25 to 30 minutes. If you are watching 30 minutes or more after the stream ends, there will be timestamps. If you want to skip ahead past the news, you easily can. Just click on the timestamp. But I've got some cool news tonight, so stick around, give it a watch. Also, if you like this video, by all means, don't forget, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. If you do subscribe, ding that bell. It will not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday evenings right here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central. Also let you know when I upload other videos such as my unboxing and first look at the One Ring second edition starter set. That's right. Rolled this out on Saturday, and it's been a pretty popular video so far. And we've got reviews on the horizon. Kevin has a review. He was a backer for the Kickstarter, so he got his copy well before I did. And he's got his review. I've got it. It's in the can. I just haven't released it yet. So that'll be up and live little later on this week. So I've already kind of started taking a peek at it, and there are some things about Kevin's review I completely agree with. And not to, steal any thunder, there are some issues production-wise with this starter set that we've never seen Free League Publishing have in the past. So it's a little little worrisome. Anyway, also should point out, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Lastly, this is a live stream, so that means there is chat available. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay, but I do my best to pay attention to chat. So if you'd like to say howdy, maybe you got a question, comment, by all means, chime in, and I will do my best to respond. Let's see, who do we got cooking so far? First out the gate was the Motor City Madman. That's right. Out of Michigan comes one of our chat moderators, the Madman, followed by the Thunder Down Under, Flaming Huron, our other chat moderator. So both of them are here right off the bat. It's me, Hunter, is in chat with us. Russell Higgins, Mr. Eddie T, which also means that Sarah D is really hanging around, checking out the show as well. Helga Ratbone is with us also. So chat is off and running already on a Monday evening. So hope everybody had a great weekend. Mine was kind of not super exciting. I do have my video, my old school flashback of my peek at the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons DM's guide coming up tonight. I am going to release that tonight. I actually went with the Wondering unboxing video because I know a lot of people were curious about this, and fewer people are curious about me just paging through the Dungeon Master's Guide for a book that's decades old. But I still had a little bit of fun with that. So Sarah D says, peeks into wave, then ducks back into the shadows. All right, let's see. Anything? Let's see. Anybody chiming in with anything here? It looks like most people are just saying howdy. Saying howdy, howdy, howdy. Okay, so let's jump on into the news. Because arriving next month from KOSMOS is the railway game Switch and Signal. Here's what I know. Who is best to keep track of things? There's an incredible amount of traffic on the rails. It's pretty relaxed at first, but the more trains that are put on the game board, the tighter it gets. Has the course been set correctly? Is the train really on the right route? Is the signal green? All aboard the cooperative train game. You begin this cooperative, family-friendly train game, controlling just a few trains on the tracks. At first, it's easy to make them travel where you like. As more trains arrive, you have to plan and coordinate your train schedules. Is the signal green? Where is this train going? Oh no, the switch wasn't set! If your train heads off in the wrong direction, your goods won't arrive on time. Only by working together to schedule and move your trains efficiently will you and your team of conductors be able to win the game. There are 2 different game boards, Central Europe and North America, which each bring fun challenges to overcome. Work with your teammates to build a network of trains that run at different speeds to transport goods as efficiently as possible. The simple rules are easy to learn and allow you to jump right on into the action. The game features a double-sided game board, city tile variants, and customizable difficulty levels. Switch and Signal is for 2 to 4 players, ages 10 and up. Plays in around 45 minutes. It's going to carry an MSRP of $49.95 when it arrives on February 4th. Yes. Next month on February 4th, you will be able to get your hands on Switch and Signal. This could be kind of interesting. I like the little trains that have little area in the back to drop that cube on into, which obviously represents some specific type of good. Could be kind of fun. Very nice. Very nice. Arriving next month is Tales from the Loop, the board game from Free League Publishing. Here's the scoop. Step into Simon Stolenog's stunning retro sci-fi world. In Tales from the Loop, the board game by Free League Publishing, players play cooperatively to investigate the mysteries originating from the Loop, a huge underground science facility with strange effects on the suburban landscapes around it. Players take the roles of local kids that investigate weather phenomena that threaten the islands and hopefully stop them. Each day starts at school, but as soon as the bell rings, players can use whatever time they have before dinner and homework to go exploring. In the Tales from the Loop, the board game, you take the roles of local kids and play cooperatively to investigate whatever phenomena is threatening the islands, or perhaps just the local video store, and hopefully stop them. When that bell rings, you get to start exploring. Player actions are integrated, meaning there's no downtime as you wait for others taking their turn. It also makes cooperating with your fellow players dynamic, as you can react to things that happen in a turn and don't have to plan it all out from the start. Tales from the Loop, the board game, is for 1 to 5 players, ages 12 and up. Plays around 90 to 120 minutes. It's going to carry an MSRP of $79.99 when it arrives on February 8th. And I should have grabbed it. Hold on. Here I've got it. Ta-da! So I will have an unboxing video of Tales from the Loop, the board game, later this week. So there is that. I got to be honest, I'm kind of curious about this. So I understand there's different scenarios, and at the same time that the core game is coming out, there are also 2 expansions that are also coming out that have more scenarios and I think a couple of new miniatures each, because there are a few miniatures in the game, not a ton. I think there's like 5 in this. So I don't know. I'm kind of curious what this is going to be like. I like Tales from the Loop. I think it is a very cool setting, very unique setting. I think it really does capture the 80s, like being, like younger teens in the 80s pretty damn well. Seeing that I was a younger teen in the 1980s. But it's more like for, at least in my opinion, I think the RPG is more for very short campaigns or one-shots, things like that. So I am curious to see how this gets ported over as a board game. So stay tuned. Like I said, I'll have an unboxing video of it later this week. Doug Roberts has joined us in chat. Very, very cool. Madman says they're looking forward to the unboxing of Tales from the Loop, the board game. Yes, I believe you can play solitaire as well. That's why it's 1 to 5 players. So that is something else to keep an eye on. Russell Higgins says, but not a basic or expert younger team. Ah, come on. That joke's getting old. It's not, that running gag isn't buying it anymore. Especially since we're not talking about D&D at all today. Anyway, talking about role-playing games, though. The One Roll Engine role-playing system is featured in a bundle of holding. Here's the deets on the deal. Adventurer. We've resurrected our July 2014 One Roll Engine bundle. A super strong team of fantastically varied, super heroic rule books and settings that use the One Roll Engine tabletop role-playing game system by Greg Stoltz and Dennis Detwiller. Published by Arc Dream Publishing. As shown in Arc Dream's tutorial, ORE lets you toss a handful of 10-sided dice and use the rolls with number of matching results and height, the value on the matching dice, to quickly determine degrees of success initiative order, hit location, and damage. It's easy yet surprisingly versatile and great for fast, super heroic action. This bargain price revival once again gives you everything you need to start your own one-roll campaign. For just $14.95, you get all 3 complete digital rule books in this revived offer starter collection, which have a retail value of $60, as DRM-free PDFs. There's Godlike. In the Second World War, superpowered talents fight for both allies and Axis. No bright spandex or pulp machismo here, just the psychological toll of warfare and heroism. There's Wild Talents, one-roll engine superheroics in any time and setting, plus gear, archetypes, powers, and an expanded history of Godlike's world gone mad. Better Angels. You're a supervillain possessed by a demon that provides your superpowers. Do too much evil, and the demon takes control. Don't do enough, and the demon can punish you. If you pay more than the threshold price currently of $28.56, you'll level up and also get this revival's entire bonus collection with 5 more PDFs worth an additional $83, including the Godlike supplements, Black Devil's Brigade, and Will to Power. 2 Wild Talents campaign supplements, Grim War and E-Collapse, and a Civil War alternate history using the Godlike rules, This Favored Land. These savings run through January 26th, and 10% of your payment after gateway fees will be donated to Direct Relief. Now, I know nothing about these games. Well, okay, I take that back. I know what Godlike is. And I know there was a lot of content that was released for Godlike for quite a while. I got to be honest, I don't even know if these are really supported anymore by Arc Dream Publishing, because usually all I really see coming from Arc Dream are Delta Green adventures and, collections and source books and things like that. So I don't know how much support these one roll engine games have. That said, pretty damn interesting. And as Russell Higgins says, they like Weird War II settings. Don't we all? Flaming Heron says, yeah, something you don't get enough of. Yeah, really. Well, depends on what you're looking to do. Of course, we've got Achtung Cthulhu, the 2D20 edition that's out. Although I don't think the physical books are out yet. I know it's out in PDF. So we've got that. There's been some, I believe, I think they were Savage World. Setting books. If not, they were Fate. Same kind of like zombie World War II kind of thing. But could be kind of interesting. I had heard that Godlike had different like setting books for like different famous battles and that. The only thing that I've kind of got, I'm kind of curious about is how do you, you've got superheroes with superpowers and it's World War II, but how do you involve those superheroes and still have the same like historical timeline? I don't know. Right? You're like, Madman says Savage Worlds has Weird Wars 1, 2, and Rome. Disavowed 92 has joined us in chat. They said that the Achtung Cthulhu books are out. Huh. Surprised nobody reached out for us to, maybe cover them for Modifius. I'll have to touch base because we did get the PDFs to do reviews. All right, let's move along. Available in print and PDF from Epic Age Media is The Heroes of the Pulp Age. And I've got the dope spine-tingling pulp adventure, The two-fisted tales of yesteryear return as dashing men and women scour the globe in search of legendary relics and dark enigmas. Play as any one of 38 distinct trades, such as archaeologist, explorer, spy, or private investigator. A D10 system and 4 simple stats keep the mechanics smooth flowing, while 4 substats give your character flavor. Use your guts and ingenuity to safely navigate through a lost temple, or utilize your flair and demeanor to charm your way through life. Luck and legend points ensure that your intrepid adventurer can pull off the most impossible and escape from any hopeless situation. Well, that wouldn't make things interesting. If you're like, no way that you can get killed, can escape from any situation. Outlooks and motives flesh out your character and make them a memorable hero. It includes 40 unique backstories, both beneficial and detrimental, and they give your character a detailed history and a springboard for an exciting career. Nearly 4 dozen skills allow your hero to succeed using his strongest traits, available equipment, and resources. An intuitive incantation system lets you introduce ritual and alchemical magics to your campaign. Combat is quick and easy with the chance to create a thrill or bungle effect. Play through 50 years of historical scenarios from 1895 to 1945. The treasures of the past are just waiting to be found. Will you become a legendary adventurer or a simple footnote in history? The 241-page Heroes of the Pulp Age is available in softcover for $40, or you can grab the PDF over at DriveThruRPG for $20. This looks kind of interesting. I will point out that the images I'm sharing outside of the cover are from the free quick start that is available. And I noticed the quick start doesn't really have, it's all like clip art, royalty-free artwork. Of course, I'm sharing that image right there. That is original artwork, but it is not in the quick start. So I'm assuming that some of the original artwork I saw on the website is reserved for the actual core book itself. Doug Roberts says he read some book, they can't remember the title, that was set during World War II about the Germans invading a Romanian town that was full of vampires. Very cool story. Oh, and of course, you've got Harry Turtledove and the series, well, there were actually, I think, 2 series that he did. And it was World War II and an alien invasion at the same time. That was a fairly interesting setup. I don't remember the books being... Harry Turtledove comes up with like really good concepts, but his character development leaves a lot to be desired. So, at least in my opinion. Just my opinion. Anybody out there huge Harry Turtledove fans, don't come burn me in effigy, okay? So, Kevin R. Smith has joined us. I was just mentioning that Kevin has our review of the One Ring starter set on the horizon. You will see that later this week. All right. On to the final news piece. Now available also in print and PDF over at DriveThruRPG is They Came from Beyond the Grave from Onyx Path Publishing. Here's what I know. I urge you now, do not open this book. Do not read its contents. Walk away, live your simple life, and keep these creatures of darkness in the shadows where they belong. Opening your eyes to this horrible world where demons possess dolls, the undead stalk the night, the devil walks among us, and mummies march from their tombs is an act of incredible bravery or perhaps complete foolishness. Turn away now before it's too late. No? Well, in that case, welcome to a little game called They Came from Beyond the grave. They Came from Beyond the Grave is a dramatic, hammy, thus me doing that voice, and horrifying tabletop role-playing game encompassing the shock, terror, eroticism, and humor of 1970s horror. This game allows you to play with all the magnificent content from the movies of Hammer, Amicus, and Roger Corman, and promises the fun and thrills of the horror movie genre. In They Came from Beyond the Grave, you play humans faced with the horrors of the supernatural. You'll find yourself pitted against vampires, werewolves, ghosts, and constructed critters, along with demons, slashers, and the devil himself. Adventures range from the one-shot exploration of a haunted house to the multi-era play across the 19th century and 1970s. They Came from Beyond the Grave contains a mix of serious threats, unmitigated ham, and nonsensical farce. We never tell you what is amusing and what is not, but we do provide the tools to make a seriously fun game incorporating all the elements of 1970s horror movies. This game provides rules for funny quips and amusing cinematics for incorporation in a story, along with dozens of special powers and story devices. They Came from Beyond the Grave uses the story path system provided in full in the pages of this book. They Came from Beyond the Grave includes 5 playable archetypes: the dupe, the hunter, the mystic, the professor, and the raconteur. Rules for character creation and play using the story path system fully detailed in this book. Cinematic powers such as the ability to tear through cheap sets, cut to black when everything is looking grim, and even cut to a montage to speed up play. Quips to throw in at entertaining moments, giving your characters a chance at an award-winning scene, or at least one that makes it into the trailer. Scores of monsters looking to hunt you down and make your lives miserable, from Dracula to Frankenstein's monster. There's also 2 ready-to-play scenarios playable straight from the book. The 229-page core book is available from DriveThruRPG in hardcover for $69.99, softcover for $39.99, or in PDF for $19.99. I see that we've got quite a few of these new releases in the, I guess we'll say, They Came From line of games, because we've got They Came From Beneath the Sea, which Sammy has reviewed and loved, and I guess a lot of people are really digging that. We also have They Came From Outer Space, which I don't think I've done a news piece on yet. Yeah, I don't think I have. I should get around to that, because that came out pretty recently as well. And then, of course, now we've got They Came From Beyond the Grave. So they mentioned 1970s horror. Not all 1970s horror was campy. You know, there was The Exorcist. There was The Omen. Those were not campy, hammy movies at all. Kevin asked, they wonder how the story path system mirrors White Wolf's storyteller system, given the history of the company. Yeah, I know. I'm kind of curious about that as well. I assume this uses some sort of like a PIP system as well. I think it's not a very crunchy system at all, but I don't know. I don't know for sure. There you go. Russell Higgins says, Kolchak, the Night Stalker. Love that show. Loved Kolchak, the Night Stalker. And then I remember, I want to say it was in kind of like the later 80s, probably mid to later 80s. CBS used to run reruns of Kolchak. I want to say it was Friday nights. In the Chicago area, I think it came out around 11:30 or so. But it's kind of funny because I know my brother just introduced that probably within the last 6 months to my nephew Cameron. So, yep, that's a classic. I mean, how could you go wrong? Although I have to, I'm trying to remember what was the storyline. And the Cubs are in the World Series against the Boston Red Sox. It's like, well, at that point in time, we know this is fantasy. Russell says it's on the Sci-Fi Network now. Oh, sweet. I know it was on Netflix, and I'm almost positive that's how my brother introduced it to my nephew, was my nephew Cameron on Netflix, I think it was. Sweet. Doug says, yeah, that was a good show. Watched it a lot back in the day. I got to be honest, I haven't watched it in a long, long time. There you go. Kevin R. Smith says, yeah, CBS late movie. Yep, those were the days. Yeah, that was a long time ago. But I'm sure they don't hold up as well. Now, the original movie, because they did 2 television movies. First one was The Night Stalker. And if I remember correctly, that was a vampire in Vegas. So, and then there was a second, and that was this undying killer. And that was in Seattle, if I remember correctly. And then, of course, the TV show was set in Chicago. Don't know. Got around. Carl Kolchak got around, got canned from a lot of newspapers back in the day. Omanal has joined us. Omanal is also one of our reviewers over at thegaminggang.com. All right, that's it for the news. We were talking a little bit about DriveThruRPG. Don't forget the Gaming Gang, thus the Dispatch, are affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you are planning on visiting, say, DriveThruRPG, by all means, please swing by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a little portion of that sale. And all those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do add up and help keep thegaminggang.com around. A lot of people out there utilize those banner ads, and month in, month out, it usually pays for the hosting for thegaminggang.com, which I say all the time. Our hosting is not cheap, because you can't run a website that gets the kind of traffic that thegaminggang.com gets over on like GoDaddy shared hosting or anything like that. Also, if you like what I do, if you dig this video, if you like the channel, if you enjoy thegaminggang.com, by all means, you can always buy me a cup of coffee or some soda by going over to paypal.me/thegaminggang and making a small donation. And a big thank you to the Madman, who is our most recent contributor. Thank you very much. Appreciate it quite a lot. Thank you, everybody. Because if you are fairly new to following the Gaming Gang, watching any of these videos, things like that, it's important you understand I don't do Kickstarters. I don't do a yearly or every 6 months. As there is an outlet who will remain nameless that I notice is now doing it every 6 months. I don't run crowdfunding, deals, projects in order to finance the Gaming Gang. I think I'm one of the few larger, not that it's not that we're huge, but larger outlets that does not do that. So there you go. Man said, I love to support TGG when he can. Thank you very much. Very cool. All right. Anyway, let me grab a quick sip here. Once again, do want to mention that if you were expecting my old school flashback look at the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons Dungeon Master's Guide over the weekend, I shared my unboxing video for the One Ring starter set instead, because I know a lot of people waiting to see this, not see my video, but see what was in the starter set, as opposed to watching me, flip through a book that's been out for decades. So that'll be up tonight. So stay tuned. I will have that up later on this evening after the stream. It's done. It's in the can. It was in the can. It was just, I thought, you know what? Let's get the One Ring out there, because I know there was a lot of curiosity about what's in the starter set. Philadelphia Piper has joined us in chat. Welcome aboard, Philly Piper. Always good to see you. So, shall we move on? Because tonight, I am going to take a look at Ultraviolet Grasslands and the Black City from WTF Studio. And it does not represent what you think WTF is. It is Wizard Thief Fighter, not what the bleep. Book is written and illustrated by Luka Rajic. The 198-page softcover is available with PDF from the fine folks over at Exalted Funeral for $30. You can get the PDF alone over at DriveThruRPG for $25. Now, before I switch over to the other camera, I do want to mention, you might notice that the volume is a little higher on the microphone. Hopefully there's no clipping, no popping. But I had some folks comment that the mic was a little quiet, and I understand it. I get it. But last time I tried to increase the volume a bit, we got a bunch of just a whole lot of clipping and like little pops. So I'm hoping that is not the case tonight. Fingers crossed. So Philly says a lot of overtime kept them away. People are eating a lot of pork products. Oh, they work for Hatfield Meats. Hey, pork, it's the other white meat, everybody. Mr. Eddie T says, sounds good, no clipping. Cool. All right, good deal. Hopefully it stays that way. I think it should be all right. I'm fairly up on, making sure the audio sounds okay. Although I'm terrible at trying to equalize it and give it more of a radio sound. I'm not good at that. All right, let's swing on over to the other camera, because here I've got Ultraviolet Grasslands and the Black City. I have heard a lot of good things about UVG. I have heard that it is an exceptional role-playing game product. Heard the artwork is very, very cool. I have not cracked this open. So I purchased this. I picked up some kind of indie RPG stuff for the old school for the New Year's celebration. And this was one of the items that I picked up. This was like a Black Friday deal. I got it from Exalted Funeral, and I want to say it was half price. But some folks out there might be thinking, wait a second, this isn't OSR. Well, it's not necessarily OSR, but it does, as far as I understand, have kind of an old school sort of mentality to it. Because one thing that is a tenet of the old school is that you give the players situations, not plots. Give them situations for them to experience and make decisions in. Don't just toss out plot points to keep them moving along. So let's take a look at the back here. This artwork kind of gives, kind of reminds me a bit of Mobius. The French artist Mobius used to have a lot of stuff in heavy metal. Fair hero, the end alone awaits all travelers, and at the end, was the journey all in vain? All journeys end in vain, in vanity, mused the grand observer at the end of time. Welcome to the Ultraviolet Grasslands, the role-playing game of heroes on a strange trip through mythic steppes in search of lost time, broken space, and deep rifts. All right. Let's jump on in. Once again, I do want to point out this is not a review. I have never cracked this book open. So, few things that I do want to mention. I'm going to stay picture in picture over here so that I'm going to end up cutting off a little upper portion of the left side of the book. We're not going to look at each and every page. I do want to give you a good feel for what is in this book, but we're not going to look at each and every page as we move throughout. So we get some acknowledgments. Using Ultraviolet Grasslands, it says, you have in your hands role-playing adventure setting designed to help a traditional RPG referee take their friends' heroes on a long, strange trip. What a long, strange trip it's been. Across a mythic steppe filled with remnants of space and time and fuzzy rifts. It's inspired by psychedelic heavy metal, the Dying Earth genre, and Oregon Trail games. Okay, I would say that is an eclectic mix right there. So we got our table of contents, World's Edge. Who is the hero? You can roll randomly for this. Of course, that's another tenet of the old school is a lot of random tables, if you'd like, that kind of provide some surprising results. Surprising not only for the player characters, but for the game master themselves. Omenal says right now feels like a graphic novel. Might accidentally be mistaken for that rather than an RPG. This is kind of an art punk release. I know I've teased about art punk in the past, last week especially, but this also does have plenty of gameable material as we stop on debauchery in shades of purple. Nice. So, unlike some art punk releases, this does have very clear and understandable text, no crazy fonts. I can understand what's going on here. Philadelphia Piper asks if this comes with a hit of LSD. No, it does not. As far as I know, it didn't. At least mine didn't. So here we've got some of the locations. So I believe this is a standalone game. I think there are rules in here for utilizing the setting itself. Places of polished porcelain. Glass house of a dead prince. I think this might be along the lines of what they sometimes refer to as a point crawl as opposed to a hex crawl. So instead of hexes, you actually have like locations. So instead of just crossing, okay, well, in this hex, there's this, and this hex, there's that. It's basically connected points. We'll find out. We'll see. So each of these locales are kind of broken down. We get a breakdown of some information about it. And then we get some random tables. Get some encounters in that. Artwork is very interesting as well. The south-facing passage. The behemoth shell. Luka Rajic and the Wizard Thief Fighter Studio has a lot of stuff out. What is there's a title? Is it the Long Winter? I want to say the Long Winter is one of their releases, and it's like 2 books. and it's effectively a role-playing game. I think it's kind of like a horror mystery sort of game, but the player characters also have to survive the winter in a less than friendly setting. So we've got the Heart of the Moon. Looks like this is a fairly large location. Three Sticks Lake. So we have these numbered locales. The gall grass as an example here. And then we get some, it doesn't look like all of them have as much detail to the areas. But as an example here, number 20 kind of has, what was it, 5? Yeah, looks like we've got 5 kind of smaller locations in that one. Omenal says definitely better than Morkborg, or as I was told, it's pronounced Mirkbeg, in their opinion, for reading and visuals. Yeah, that's why I was saying this is kind of an art punk release, but you can still make it out. I think there's a new edition of this possibly going to be kickstarted. I'm not positive on that. Something that I kind of heard through the grapevine, that it is possible that there's going to be another edition of this. Because honestly, I think originally it was the Ultraviolet Grasslands, and then it expanded out with more content and became Ultraviolet Grasslands and the Black City. Someone else says Mjörkberg reminds them of the Swedish chef. Wow, there's still loads and loads of these locations here, because this is a setting book. There we go. There's the Black City. Looks like we've got a good amount of page space devoted to the Black City here. So far more than we were getting from the other locations. That might be the last of the numbered locations. Heroes and the Cat. So you've decided to see what this sea cat under the UVG is all about. Come inside, come inside. The show's about to start. It's a good introduction to the moving parts of the game. We're going to see how Sea Cat works, how characters are made, and how to run a caravan through the Ultraviolet Grasslands. So this looks like this is our rules section. So there we go. Hero Sub Basics. So we've got our stats, our attributes. We've got strength, endurance, agility, charisma, aura, and thought. So aura must be replacing wisdom, and thought replacing intelligence. Making a hero. So what do we have? 132 pages of setting. Then we get into kind of the rules of the game. This is another area where I think this is kind of OSR, because it doesn't look like it's got a lot of rules bloat to it. So Kevin asks, I wonder if you're supposed to be able to use your locations, these locations, with your favorite OSR system or with their rules, depending on your preferences. I think you can do either. I think essentially you could utilize it with either your own, so fairly generic, or you could utilize the UVG rules here. So let's see. As an example, we've got time. So what do we have? It's going to break down into rounds. Okay, so here we go. In most RPGs, rounds, minutes, and turns are used during the exploration of dungeons or ruins, while hours and days are used for overland travel and the exploration of terrain hexes. When traveling in the UVG, a week is the basic unit of activity to drive home how far apart everything is. So weeks and days. And of course, I'm sure we've got months and things like that. Russell says they would probably use Mutant Crawl Classics with the setting because they are not a crunch guy. I think I've discussed what I'm using for my fantasy role-playing campaign with my nephew and his friends, and my brother is probably gonna play, amazingly enough. Probably be the first time he played Dungeons and Dragons since he was in grammar school, and he's a couple years older, 2.5 years older than I am. But I'm actually using kind of a bastardization of the Black Hack with far more magic and a little bit of kind of like not necessarily like feats, but more proficiencies. So here's our big map. So these are the locations. So it is kind of point to point. So here you can see from Violet City to the steppe of the Lime Nomads, it is 2 weeks of travel time. So that's what the little circle here is with the number. And then these are the locations. Oh, and the time haze lifts. So there must be a haze that runs throughout. Okay, so I see that essentially the big map, that's what it says. The big map looks like it runs very long. It runs lengthwise here. So it's not running by width because we see Porcelain Citadel and Potsherd Crater, and then those are up there. And then we see Long Ridge, South Facing Passage, and Fallen Umber are right there. So the whole premise, I think, is that the player characters are part of a caravan, or they're leading a caravan, and this is the trek. So this is their epic trek. So here we've got our factions. It's the Cat Lords of the Violet City. They are the cats. The purple goddess, divinity of magic and most prominent deity in the Violet City, has a fondness for cats. Indeed, cats are the rulers of the purple land through their doting human servants. All right. Cat lords as heroes. So you could conceivably play, I guess, a cat as your character. So we've got, these are all just the different factions. Other Voyagers, so these are NPCs, it looks like. Once again, you can randomly roll them up. And then we've got some random names. And then a story. So, and then a color. So I would take a guess, conceivably, you could roll percentile dice to get what the role of that NPC is. Roll again for their first name. Roll again for their surname. Roll again for a story. And roll again for a color. So that is a lot of random generation there. So here's equipment. Weapons, guns, wands, and steel. Strange items are soap-sized treasures. I honestly really don't know what kind of world this is. This almost looks like a post-apocalyptic kind of like fantasy world. And I know this does draw inspiration from Jack Vance's Dying World stories. So that might be kind of the sort of setting. Kind of a dying world. Fragments of a glossary. synopsis of spells. So we've got some breakdowns of the different spells. I guess it looks like these are the pages that they were mentioned on. So we've got things like let the door open itself or knock. I guess we understand what that does. Net trick. Eastman's turning of the mill wheel of essential existence. Yeah, this does have a real Jack Vance Dying Earth vibe to it here, especially with this magic and the names of the spells seem to kind of tell you what they do as well. So this was successfully kickstarted. So some thank yous to the various backers there. And we've got our index. And that is it. So it says here, first mention of the Ultraviolet Grasslands from in-play map made together with the Golden Goats during session 0, sometime in early 2015 or late 2014. Huh. Sweet. Oh, it says here, they started off with Gus L's Dungeon of Signs, Free Adventure, Prison of the Hated Pretender. I've heard of that. I've heard really good things about it. As their initial adventure, things spiraled quickly from there. Sweet. Very nice. Very interesting looking book. Very unique. So I am looking forward to diving on into this. Flaming Heron points out that it's an interesting way to represent maps. Yeah, I thought that looked kind of cool. Looks pretty nice. Like I said, I think this is a point crawl with the big map there. So it looks essentially we had, was it 135? No. 132 pages of setting and location info. This strikes me as one of those games where you kind of learn about the setting overall by reading through all of these various entries, as opposed to having some big, great overview info dump dropped right on you. All right. Once again, this is Ultraviolet Grasslands and the Black City from WTF Studio. Book is written and illustrated by Luka Rajic. And this softcover is available with the PDF from Exalted Funeral for $30. Or you can get the PDF over at DriveThruRPG for $25. And of course, I will have a review of Ultraviolet Grasslands and the Black City in the very near future. Yes. Very, very nice. Also want to mention, tune in. Well, not necessarily tune in tomorrow, but keep your eyes peeled tomorrow because I will be sharing my review of Dungeons & Dragons Original Adventures Reincarnated Volume 1 Into the Borderlands from Goodman Games. So yes, the first of the 6 volumes is getting a review. Watch for it. I will probably put that up tomorrow after tomorrow's live show. I think that is what I will have game planned. Just like tonight, I'm sharing that video of my old school flashback with the advanced D&D Dungeon Master's Guide. I keep wanting to say Game Master's Guide. See, I'm just so not used to saying Dungeon Master because I haven't been a Dungeon Master in decades. I don't even think I ever went by that term. I tended to use ref, even for Call of Cthulhu, which, if you follow the show, you know I've run for decades. I've never called myself the keeper. So I'm always just the ref. Just the ref, not even the judge, just the ref. So on tomorrow's show, we are going to take a look at Iron Falcon from Chris Gonnerman. It is, yeah, Gonnerman. Double check. You might know Chris from his work on Basic Fantasy, which we have covered in the past. Well, Iron Falcon is kind of a retro clone of original Dungeons and Dragons. Yes, those original 3 booklets. I think it's the first 4, which are kind of tackled with this. So we are going to be taking a look at this on tomorrow's show, as well as the little volume of adventures. That is Iron Falcon, and the adventures are available through Amazon.com. And then on Wednesday, we are going to take a peek at kind of a cornucopia of smaller digest size releases. So we're going to take a look at Cairn, Original Edition Campaign, which as you can see is sort of supposed to look like one of the OD&D booklets, although it doesn't have as many pages, and the first edition of Mothership, which I have heard fantastic things about Mothership, and we did just recently have a successful Kickstarter for a second edition of Mothership. So we're going to take a look at all 3 of these on Wednesday's show, because it'll be pretty quick to zip through. Then next week, we are featuring Old School Essentials, including a look at the Old School Essentials Classic Rules Tome and the first issue of Carcass Crawler, an interview with Gavin Norman of Necrotic Gnome, and maybe, just maybe, we'll get an opportunity to take a look at the advanced fantasy tomes. Fingers crossed on that one, because I am super interested in checking that out. I actually bought my nephew Cameron a copy of Old School Essentials, the classic rules tome, because he's very curious about running an RPG. In fact, he was doing it in his it wasn't basic training, it was the training after that. And of course, but he didn't have any dice or anything. So they were using coins. And I'm trying to kind of explain to him how the old school sort of gameplay, how it differs tremendously from a more modern approach. So I gave him a copy of Old School Essentials. Sweet. Flaming Heron says, hey, sounds like a bunch of good things to come. Flaming Heron says they don't really give themselves a name. They're just running the game. Yeah, exactly. That's kind of how I look at it. Mr. Eddie T had to run. So I'm reading Russell Higgins talking about not being a crunch guy the same way I see Mr. Eddie T saying goodnight. So that's why I said, yeah, Mr. Eddie T's got a runch. It's like, okay. Zinks. All righty. That's it for tonight. If you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, ding that bell. It'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday evenings right here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central. It'll also let you know when I upload other videos, such as tomorrow's review of Into the Borderlands. All 384 pages. Not that you're going to get to see all 384 pages. And of course, we're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel. Be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Hopefully, the volume is better for everybody. I know shows have been a little quiet. Once again, trying to avoid getting the clipping. And I got to be honest, I think the clipping actually occurs on the YouTube side of things. Because in the past, when I had the volume louder, because I always record, and then, of course, I have a recording of the stream, and then the stream that goes, of course, up to YouTube. And there's times where there was clipping on YouTube's video, but not on the video I recorded. And you would think it would just have clipping on both. Guess not. So keep our fingers crossed. No clipping on the finished result. Battle Warpath had hung out in chat with us. Good deal. Sarah D saying goodnight as well. So anyway, once again, don't forget, hit that thumbs up. It helps appease the YouTube overlords and helps, share this video with more people. MC says the sound is garbled and quiet right now. Don't know why. Seeing it's strangely enough, it is showing that the microphone is actually producing a fairly loud output. So I don't know. I don't know what the deal would be. All right. Also should point out, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Madman says they are not hearing any issues and they're wearing headphones. Flaming Heron said no problems with audio there either. Sweet. Good deal. All right. Anyway, those of you who watched live, thank you very much. Those of you who watched live and took part in chat, a bigger thank you, because at least, you're hanging out and keeping me company so I don't feel like a dork, carrying on and on and on and on for an hour. But I know there are folks out there who don't have an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter how you watch videos on the Gaming Gang channel. Maybe you're even watching on Memorex. Each and every one of you, I certainly do appreciate you taking time out of your busy lives to catch a video, hang out, spend a little time kicking back and avoiding the troubles of the world for a little bit. I will be back tomorrow. As I mentioned, we're going to take a look at Iron Falcon on tomorrow's show. And of course, here's hoping each and every one of you gets to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your own gang. See you tomorrow. Oh, hey, you're still here. Well, if that's the case, by all means, subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel by clicking right here. Check out the latest episode of the Gaming Gang Dispatch, or find out what YouTube recommends you check out from the channel. And of course, once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thanks for watching.